The idea of compounding and having your investments grow over time is a core critical aspect for any type of investor. Albert Einstein actually knew this and has some famous quotes along that. Albert, of course, is the E equals MC squared guy, the theory of relativity, a brilliant person. And he had some quotes, one of which is, compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it. From Albert Einstein, and we certainly want to be on the earn it side. That's our goal, is to be on the earn it side. He also said that compounding was the most powerful force in the universe is compound interest. So, very fascinating from a very, very smart guy, recognizing the mathematics behind compounding and compounding over a period of time. So let's take a look at some examples of compounding, how they can be kind of motivating for us, and see what that really means for us, the intrepid investor. Okay, I'm looking at a calculator here from moneychimp.com. So it's just that simple, MoneyChimp, all one word. Look at calculators and compound interest, or if you Google search MoneyChimp compound interest or compound interest calculator, you'll get here. And I like this calculator. There's lots of different investment calculators that are out there. Feel free to use them, try different ones, play around with them, see what you like. I happen to like this one for compound interest. It allows me to do a lot of good, kind of real easy, quick what-if scenarios, and it's a good educational tool to demonstrate the value and the impact of compound interest. So with this calculator, we're going to fill in some of these fields. And let's say that we're a young person, let's say 22 years old, and we decide we want to save for long term for our retirement. And let's say we're thinking maybe we'll retire at 67, a typical retirement age or a traditional one. You might want to, of course, retire early. I certainly do. But let's say you're going to save over 45 years towards retirement. So then you start putting in these inputs, and you'll see how much you have in the end as far as your future value or what you'll end up with. So simply, let's say our current principal, let's say we're just starting out, so we got zero. We've got nothing saved at all. We're just getting started out. And let's say, and in annual addition, we want to do, let's think monthly first. So let's say we want to do $100 US a month. Euros, rupees, yen, whatever you're using, pesos, think of it in that terms. But this happens to be based on dollars. So our annual addition, we're going to put in $100 a month, which is equal to $1,200 a year. And how many years is that going to grow? Well, we want to go to 67 from age 22, so that's 45 years, right? So we're going to have that grow at 45 years. And then interest rates you can play around with some conservative ones, a little bit more aggressive ones. Let's, for the sake of purposes here, let's use 7%. If you start using 12%, that gets a little unrealistic. But if you use 1%, that's too conservative. That's unrealistic too. So let's say overall, let's say we get a return of 7%, somewhat reasonable number return, I believe. But who knows what the future holds? But this is reasonable. How much you want it to compound annually? We want to compound one time a year. So let's say it does that. And we want it to be at the end of the compounding period. This will actually give you a lower, more conservative number than if you did at the start of each compounding period. So some conservative numbers here in this part. All right, so let's see what we end up here as far as our future value. Hit the calculate button here, and we end up with $342,899. So about $343,000 by just putting in $100 a month, for a long period of time, 45 years. Let's say we did that for instead of $100 a month, let's say we did $200 a month. And now we can start playing some different what-if scenarios. Everything else stays the same, but we're putting an extra $100 a month, and that grows from the 343 that almost doubles, more so, to 685. So, it's growing by putting that little bit extra in there. And if we get to $300 a month, now we're at $3,600, everything else staying the same. Now we top off at $1 million. So isn't that terrific? So $300 a month for a long period of time, can get us to $1 million right then and there. It's, it's certainly a doable thing. Later in your career, as you've earned more money or you get a higher paycheck, or if you're able to control your expenses, you can even do better than that and really start looking at big numbers. Or make changes to this, like let's say I want to do the $300 a month, but I don't have 45 years. Maybe I want to do this in 30 years. You'll see the dramatic change that'll have on the number. So it went from $1 million down to $340,000. Really good still, right? $340,000, who doesn't want that? By just putting in $300 a month, right? For 30 years. And that's just growing there. And then the additional money you invest will, grow on top of that. So the idea behind that is compounding is that powerful force in the world, as Einstein talked about. It can really make a difference as far as, over time with your interest as it continues to grow and grow upon itself. I mean, just think of this as we're at 30 years, $340,000. What if we didn't have compounding? What if we had zero interest rate? well, where will we end up with? We would end up with whatever we just put in investing ourselves, which would be $108,000 over 30 years at $3,600 a year. But that compounding helps that grow at, let's say, the 7% rate from 108 to 340. So that's the power of compounding there. So if you couple compounding of your money with regular investing, automatic investing, regular investing, and the time value and having time grow that over a period of time, you can have tremendous returns, tremendous results with your investing. And if you're shorter on time, maybe you're close to retirement or closer to a goal, then you might need to invest more, increase that annual addition. Let's say I wanted to get to that $1 million, and maybe I needed to do $500 a month, which would be $6,000 a year, right? That's a little bit bigger number. Well, then I'm getting that $566,000, so you'd have to keep increasing that. Or maybe if I start already, if I'm going with 30 years, maybe I've already saved $50,000 or more, right? So you can start playing around with these numbers, and now you can see I'm pretty close to my million. If I start with $50,000, 30 years, $500 a month, 7% interest rate, I do 7.5, boom, I'm probably right at my million, and there I am. So play around with calculators like this and understand that investing is in particular, successful investing is using things like the value of compounding interest and long-term growth, and you'll have tremendous success. But just continue to be a regular investor so you can get the advantages of both of those.